Good afternoon, everyone. We are in the midst of a climate crisis. The world is changing and we are going to change with it. So as Sarah said, my name is Fiona Smiddy. I am based in Kildare. I'm a chartered accountant, having previously worked with KPMG and in the renewable energy industry. And I am the founder of Green Outlook, an Irish online sustainable lifestyle shop. So in 2018, the renewable energy company that I worked for closed down due to lack of funding on future projects. And I made the decision to go traveling, and I had always wanted to travel. So I was delighted to get this opportunity to go. And honestly, it changed my life. It was the catalyst for so much change, not only in my personal life, but also in my professional life. So some of the countries that I visited were being directly impacted by the climate crisis. And it really shocked me because I was out of my day-to-day living in Dublin. I was just in this consumer cycle where I was shopping in the same type of shops, going to Dundrum at the weekend, not being kind of careful of what cosmetics I was buying, and just kind of in that hustle and bustle. And I think if you don't have the opportunity to travel at the moment, I think COVID-19 has been a catalyst for a lot of people to want to live more sustainably. So the two pictures on the left were of the Guna people of the San Blas Islands. And I saw how they were making plans they were consolidating the islands that they were able to live on, and they were making plans that they would have to move to mainland Panama due to rising sea levels. The third picture is hiking in the glaciers in New Zealand, and I heard how they were in constant retreat. And then the last picture, I visited my friend in Hong Kong as my last stop traveling, and he brought me up to see the beautiful sights, but unfortunately, due to constant smog and pollution, you really can't see too far when you're in Hong Kong. So these were just kind of small snippets, and I'd been taking the time out to read a bit more about kind of the climate crisis and sustainability, and these all triggered changes. So as a background kind of to sustainability, I want to introduce the UN Sustainable Development Goals. If you haven't heard of them previously, there are 17 goals that were established in 2017 for effectively a better future, a better world. And they don't just touch on the climate, they touch on a lot of other social issues as well, including poverty, equality, diversity, and lots of different areas. But when we talk about sustainability, sometimes it can get a bit confusing, but I would urge you to definitely look up the UN Sustainable Development Goals, both for your personal life and for your professional life, and see if you can go about changing small areas in your life or in your business to achieve these UN Sustainable Development Goals together. So we have the power, I believe, in our pockets to create change. We have an abundant access to information. We all carry around smartphones now where we can, at the tap of a button, look up anything we want to. And we also have consumer power in the money that we are spending, the businesses that we are supporting. So I believe if we combine by educating ourselves, going to webinars like this, talking to people, reading up on the Sustainable Development Goals or the climate crisis, and then becoming better consumers, becoming more conscious consumers, we will create a better future and a better world. So yes, big businesses, the government have a lot to answer in terms of the future of the planet, but as consumers, we drive that change. So as I said, what we do matters. And I think you can measure yourself on a scale. I could tell you go online and measure your carbon footprint, but I've laid out a very simple scale here. And on the left, you will see, you're naked and foraging in the woods and, eating a completely vegan diet and being very mindful of your water consumption. And on the right, you're gas guzzling, fast fashion wearing, flying everywhere, not caring about your rubbish. So when I moved home after traveling, I identified that I was further to the right of the scale than really I wanted to be. And when you consider the population of the planet, if we're all at that very right end of the scale, it's not it's not conducive to a sustainable world for the amount of people that we have sharing the infinite resources, the finite resources of the planet we live on. So if we can identify that we are, let's say, a 7 on this scale, and if we try move to a 6, I'm not saying you have to go all the way to the end. You don't have to become vegan tomorrow and never shop in Zara or Pennies or ASOS again, and never fly. I'm just saying, if you fly 3 times a year and you shop fast fashion every month, can you cut that back? Can you change from eating meat 7 days a week to 6 days a week? So we're going to set ourselves a challenge at the end to identify where we are on that scale and to move down. But we'll talk a bit more about what we can do in the home, because today we're focusing mainly on what we can do in the home. So number one big topic that we're all talking about at the moment is energy and our energy consumption. So due to rising levels of demand, there are potentials for energy shortages, and as we've all seen as well, price hikes in the energy that we're consuming in our homes. So simply, what can we do day to day to reduce our consumption of energy and to choose better energy resources? So simple things like being more mindful of switching off things when you're not using them, not leaving your laptop in kind of idle mode. If you have an immersion, being very mindful of just putting it on just for the right amount of time. There's lots of advances in technology now where you can monitor your home energy consumption, check out what light bulbs you were using, and look at the energy provider that you are working with, so to see what percentage of renewables are they engaging with. This year there has been a shortage in wind energy, which has resulted in us kind of leaning back more towards unsustainable fossil fuel consumption. But at the core of it, we need to look for energy providers who are kind of pushing forward and striving towards using more renewable energy sources. So that's the one thing you can straight away do, is maybe have a chat with the people you're living with, or whether it's in your business premises, and think about how much energy are we using, can we cut back a little bit, and can we look for better energy resources. So the second topic then is recycling and the waste. So we are generating waste every day. There's some sort of waste output that you're putting out into the bin, and we need to think about how can we cut back in terms of the amount of waste that we are generating, and be more mindful of what is recyclable and non-recyclable. So I'm going to touch on recycling because there was some recent changes announced by Repack, and they have identified that we can now place our soft plastics into our recycling bins. But I want to clarify a bit around that. They've confirmed that we can put the soft plastics into our recycling bins, but they haven't confirmed that we can that actually is going to be recycled. So that could still ultimately end up in the likes of a waste to energy facility like Covanta in Dublin, just out by Sandymount. That's a waste to energy facility. So we still need to try and reduce the amount of soft plastics that we are using. And I would also say to you is to check with your bin provider to make sure that they are happy for you to start putting soft plastics into your recycling bin. Because again, personally, I noticed that this was pushed out by Repack, but when I checked the social channels and the websites of the different bin providers, I didn't see them providing much comment on it. So I'm a little skeptical about that at the moment, but I think they wouldn't have announced it if it wasn't true. But I think we still need to try and reduce the amount of plastics that we're using. And then in terms of waste, again, can we try reuse things, or does everything we consume need to be new? Can you move something on, give something away on free cycle? Look up there's free cycle pages on Facebook and the likes, or sell something on Facebook Marketplace, or just in general look at the packaging around the products that we're buying and aim to buy products that are packaged in more recyclable materials, let's say paper or in less packaging in general. So the third area then is water consumption. So again, sometimes we are hit by water shortages and there are issues around the water that we are consuming. So what can we do to try improve or make more sustainable the water that we are consuming? So, can you time your shower and set yourself the challenge to cut it back by a minute or two? Or can you make sure that you're not leaving taps running when you're washing your teeth? Simple things like this, but it's the collective change that we all make. And I think, again, highlighted by COVID-19, when people work together, we can create real change, or we can have real positive impact. So if we can look at our water consumption collectively, and then we can try and tailor back and improve, because again, populations are increasing and we need to be more mindful of our water consumption. So I touched on it slightly earlier, but food, and that's an area that definitely changed for me throughout the course of traveling. I'm from a farming background in Cork. My dad part-time farms. My brother is also farming in Kildare. So I understand the impact of the agricultural scene in Ireland. I know how important that is, but I would still advocate for us being more mindful of the meat that we are consuming. So again, let's say you are consuming meat 7 days a week. Could you cut that back to 6? But when you are consuming meat, make sure you're paying the right price for it, or you're supporting your local butcher. For me personally, I've implemented what they call now is like a flexitarian diet. So I still do incorporate some meat into my diet, predominantly influenced probably by the fact that I live with people who also eat meat. So I haven't converted totally to vegetarian, but then I would introduce a lot more vegetarian and vegan based meals into my diet. And not only is that having a positive impact on the environment, it's having a positive impact on me personally as well, because all of us can benefit from eating more fruit and veg day to day. So another area in the home, if you can look at, is looking at the food that you are consuming. So the next one then is consumer goods. So I slightly touched on that earlier, but that can range from, the household furnishings right down to like what personal care products are you buying. But as I said, we have so much power in the money that we are spending. We should really try and support the right types of companies. So doing that little bit extra research before you buy something could have, again, it could save you money, it could save you energy, and also it will have a more positive impact on the environment if you're supporting, let's say, a local business rather than a mass producing company who mightn't have as much care for the environment as many of our local small producers do. So lots of small local producers already are carrying sustainability at the core of their business, because they're producing in small batches, they're being more mindful of waste, and they are selecting the right type of materials and products that are going in, or materials and ingredients that are going into their products. So at Green Outlook, we have over 70% of our products are made in Ireland, and I'll touch on what we sell in a while. The last point then is cleaning. So this kind of interlinks with water, but in terms of what cleaning products are we using, again, previously, before going traveling and before being more aware of what I was using, I was led by TV commercials, or, we know all the big brand names because they've been so heavily marketed at us. And you kind of don't even turn them over and look at the damaging effects that they can have, or the ingredients that are listed on them. So I would encourage you to maybe look at being more mindful in the cleaning products that you're using in your home. Or my personal favorite now is white wine vinegar. If you have, dirty windows, use white wine vinegar. If you have a stain on something, or everything from mold in the bathroom to making your tops whiter, white wine vinegar is like the key product that will be listed on all Google searches. So it's these natural cleaning products are just as efficient as these heavily marketed products, but again, they have less of a damaging environmental impact, and they're also better for in terms of if you inhale anything like that, or if it's touching off your skin. So I would definitely say to look at more environmentally friendly cleaning products. And with the cleaning and the food, I'm not sure where you live, but if you live near one of the refill shops where you can go in and top up products, it's absolutely brilliant. One just opened close to us in Naas, and we can go along and refill with Lily's Eco Clean products. We can refill our white wine vinegar, we can refill our nuts, grains, seeds, cereals, dried fruits, everything like that, and snacks as well. So I'm absolutely delighted one of those opened just recently in Kildare, but there's plenty of them open in Dublin, and the odd few open in Cork, Galway, different places like that. So check out a refill shop nearby you. And then I just also wanted to touch on things that are kind of inside the home, but are kind of to do with it, like let's say home life, but maybe not be inside the home directly. So one is clothes. It was definitely something that I did a whole 360 or 180 on in terms of what clothes I was consuming. So as I said, I worked 8 till 7 Monday to Friday, and then on a Saturday I'd go down to Dundrum and I'd do some retail therapy, and I would buy clothes, and I wasn't really being thoughtful of what I was buying, why I was buying it, or the money that I was spending, or the materials that were involved in the clothes, or the waste that was involved behind the clothes, or what was in my wardrobe. So I am so much more mindful now in terms of what clothes I'm buying. I love to shop in charity shops, and really wear what's in my wardrobe, more so than having to go out and buy, a new outfit for every occasion. And something that I had to do to kind of change that mindset and stay in line with the new mindset that I wanted was to look out for who I was following on social media, because you'll all have seen, let's say, the Zara hauls or the Penny hauls, where people go out and spend, come home with 2 or 3 brown bags of clothes, and that's like happening on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis. But like, again, thinking globally, is that sustainable for everybody in the world to do? And the honest answer is no. We do need to try get the most out of our clothes, be mindful of how we're cleaning them, taking care of them, and rewear them, because that's what clothes are designed to be, to be used over and over again, and not just worn once for a picture and discarded. The next topic is transport. So yes, there are electric vehicles, but in general, can you, take the train for an odd journey, or just be mindful around the amount of transport you're doing. There are some issues still with electric vehicles in terms of the mining for the batteries. So I won't go too much into that. I have a diesel car myself, so holding my hands up and being honest there. But trying to reduce how much we are how much we're traveling in individual cars, and trying to use public transport as much as possible, or cycling or walking. Financial investments, that's another one that again changed for me. Previously, I had a pension, didn't really look into too much the companies that were behind that pension. Now I purposefully seek out either a fund provider that has a good sustainability policy, or a specific SDG led or ESG environmental, social, and sorry, I've lost the acronym on that, but ESG led specific pension or financial investment. So you can look those up, and again, like, it's about the companies that we're supporting. Okay, my pension mightn't be massive, but all these little changes that we can make, collectively, if we all divert our investments towards better companies, we're creating a better world. And then the last one, online data. So again, there is huge talk at the moment about data centers and the amount of energy that they are consuming. So everything from, an email to that tweet, they're all stored or processed through, data warehouse centers, and they consume huge amounts of energy. So again, being more mindful about unsubscribing from emails that you don't need, or not using email as often, or in general, if you are uploading anything online, try to minimize the file size on that. So that was kind of like whistle stop tour of sustainability in the home. I'm sure you've probably heard of a lot of those things already, but even if they just spark a renewed interest for you or create a conversation that you can have at home or with your colleagues, I hope you will take away, a change. This is the framework of waste management. They're all ours, so it should help you when you're out consuming. So the big thing that we can do is refuse what you do not need. So that's just, again, that being more mindful of, you're in the shop, like, and you see a sale sign or something catches your eye, just waiting and being like, wait, do I really need this? Can I find this secondhand? And just being more mindful. And again, not only are you going to have better environmental impacts by not consuming things you don't need, you're actually going to hugely benefit your pocket, because you are going to be more mindful of your spending in general. Reducing what you don't need, reusing. So that's that idea of, making the most of a resource, repairing. So if something, gets a bit of a hole in it, can you, or, a shoe, part of the sole is damaged, can you bring that somewhere to get repaired? So again, it's not a wasted resource. You're taking care of the goods that you do have. Recycling, which we touched on, and the last one then is rot. So that's your compost. Huge amounts of food waste are generated globally, but in Ireland, we're terrible for wasting bread or veg. So can you make out a list and make sure that you're, when you're shopping, that you're just buying what you need? And then if you do have any peels or anything left over, composting them rather than throwing them into your landfill bin. So at Green Outlook then, we sell a curated range of sustainable and natural products. So they're a lot of them, again, are made in Ireland. We started with a smaller range and it's grown over the last 2.5 years. We support huge amounts of our suppliers, and the different products that we have then are some things like shampoo bars. So moving away from a plastic bottle of shampoo to a shampoo bar, it sounds like a small thing, but it has great benefits for your hair. You're supporting local employment, you have no plastic packaging, you have natural ingredients in it, and it's got no SLS, parabens. So again, it's healthier for you, your body. And they're quite enjoyable to use. They're all scented with natural essential oils, so you get great fulfillment out of it in the shower. So we have lots of shampoo bars online. Just go on here. We have reusable razors. So again, rather than being influenced by your Venus ads or your Gillettes, those big brands, like, can you look at a reusable version, which you will buy once and have for life? So like that, all you do then is change the razor blade, and you are, again, being more mindful of the waste that you're generating, but also it's an upfront investment, but you're going to have this for a long, long time, and you're going to save money in the long run. I don't have a toothbrush with me to show you, but the other thing I do have is just some natural deodorant options. So again, these are both Irish made. I have 4 different Irish brands online with natural deodorants. So some come in tins like this, and you apply them with your fingers. Some come in, a push-up tube like this in cardboard packaging, all made with natural ingredients, all made in Ireland, by suppliers that are very mindful of the suppliers that they work with in terms of the ingredients, and also the carbon footprint for their business. So that's just a little bit about what we do at Green Outlook, and you can find the full range of products on greenoutlook.ie. So I'm challenging Glandore and the people who are watching this to make a change today. So as I said, identify where you sit on that scale and just make one small change today, and then let that be a ripple effect, because you might, start making a few more vegetarian meals and talk to your friends about it and share a vegetarian meal with your friends or family, and that might influence them. So everything that we can do, individually, it will ripple out into this collective effort. And I think that globally, everybody does have to step up and make some changes. So this is the scale. Take it away, have a think about it, chat to people at home and set yourself a challenge to make a change. I have included 2 resources here that I found were interesting. One is by Mary Robinson, her book Climate Justice. It highlights a lot of the injustices particularly suffered by women, and particularly by poor, underdeveloped countries. They are the ones who are most heavily impacted by the climate crisis right now. It's not to say it won't touch our shores more frequently in the future, but it's really eye-opening, and it's a definite, it will be a driver for change if you did take the opportunity to read it. And the other one is Zero Waste Home. Zero Waste Home is a little bit it's a big reach or a big step. So this lady, Bea Johnson, her and her family only generate a jar full of waste annually. They can pack up their house in a day to leave it and Airbnb it. So they really try and live mindfully with minimal waste in their lives. But there's definitely some takeaways that you can achieve from reading that book. So I would recommend reading that if you have some spare time also. So these are my contact details. As I said, you can contact me via the website, and you can find all the products on greenoutlook.ie. We have very reasonably priced postage. It's only €3, and if you order by 3 p.m. Monday to Friday, orders are shipped out that day. Thank you so much to Glandore for inviting me on, and I hope I sparked an idea for you to leave the world with a lighter footprint than you currently will. Thank you.